Hello, everybody, and welcome to an update on the tropics here. You can see what's currently going on right now. We have a tropical wave that came off of Africa yesterday, right onto the bottom right of your screen there. And then to the left of that, you see what is Tropical Depression 13L currently going on in the Atlantic as well there. As you can see, just still kind of gradually organizing in pretty much the same state it was last I was talking to you about it. And then we also have Tropical Depression 14L in the Caribbean here. Right about my mouse cursor is right there, getting gradually better and better developed here with time. Time remains to be seen if it develops a well-defined center of circulation or not. Recon went into the storm earlier today and found a center just a little bit to the south of what was previously forecast. So then they adjusted their forecast, and the latest forecast cone that came out about an hour ago from them. And here's the East Pacific wide view here, and we have last I was looking, we only had a one AOI other than Genevieve moving out the way. Genevieve is a tropical storm now on its way out. And you have this AOI here that has a decent chance of developing into the next storm here. Let's go ahead and look at the cone for Genevieve here. This is Tropical Storm Genevieve as of Thursday, August 20th, 2020, 9 p.m. Mountain Time, advisory 19, currently located at 24.2 degrees north, 113.2 degrees west with maximum sustained 1-minute winds at 65 miles per hour, moving to the northwest at 10 miles per hour, and I'm thinking that they're going to discontinue the tropical storm warning soon for the southern Baja California coastline as the storm moves on to the northwest here with time, thankfully away from the land now. So that's Genevieve here. Here's a look at Tropical Depression 13 as the latest forecast cone given by the National Hurricane Center as of 11 p.m. Atlantic Standard Time advisory number 5 here. It's currently located at 17.3 degrees north, 56.4 degrees west, with maximum sustained 1-minute winds at 35 miles per hour, moving to the west-northwest at 22 miles per hour, and as tropical storm watch is in effect for the northern leewards and parts of the U.S. and British Virgin Islands as well as Puerto Rico there, as you can see on your screen. Recon also went into the storm earlier and found that the storm was fairly disorganized, hence why it's still a tropical depression here, and it's forecast to be a tropical depression by the looks of it in the next update before gradually intensifying further on with time and eventually threatening Florida as perhaps a Category 1 hurricane here, and eventually perhaps hitting the panhandle of Florida as a Category 1 hurricane after that, perhaps going off of the 5-day cone there given to us by the National Hurricane Center in their latest update here of the storm. So that's something to watch here. And for infrared imagery, here's infrared imagery of Tropical Depression 13L here, and you can see it's just been fairly disorganized for the most part for the past few days here. Hasn't really gotten itself going for the most part, and it's pretty much stayed a tropical depression for most of its life so far here. All of its life so far here. It hasn't turned into a tropical storm at all just yet. But you can see it's trying to fire convection near the center. I believe the center of circulation is actually to the north with all this convection here, so it's likely getting seared right now is why all this convection is to the south of the actual center of circulation. I believe the center of circulation is right about there. If you can see my cursor, it might blend in with the high cirrus clouds, but right about there should be where the center of circulation is. So it's a little bit farther north of where all those bursts of convection are. Now going to the Caribbean now, where we have another threat. We have Tropical Depression 14 currently active now as of the August 20th, 2020 update as of 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is advisory number 3. It's currently located at 14.9 degrees north, 82.2 degrees west, with maximum sustained 1-minute winds estimated at 35 miles per hour. Moving to the west-northwest at 14 miles per hour here, and you can see the forecast cone has the storm make landfall in the northern Yucatan. There's a 75 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane, so that's why there's not tropical storm. There's hurricane watches in effect for that area too, given that that's what the forecast holds for. Then after it goes over to Yucatan here, with the National Hurricane Center thinks that it's going to start to intensify again and then go ahead and perhaps make the landfall right around the Houston Galveston area of Texas here as a 75 mile per hour Category 1 hurricane Tuesday night here by the looks of it on this latest forecast cone. So something to watch here. So we have a double hurricane threat for the Gulf of Mexico. It's really rare to see this. If memory serves me right, I believe I was looking back at the data and I believe we've never had if these forecasts hold, that is, I don't believe there's been a time in reliable records, and reliable records go back only so far. Maybe like mid late 1800s here. We're talking here for quote unquote reliable records or decent records. I mean here. Um, During that time, we've never had two hurricanes active in the Gulf of Mexico at the same time. Came close on a few separate occasions. I believe in 1933 they had a Category 3 making landfall around Brownsville, and then around Florida there was a tropical storm, moderately strong tropical storm making landfall on the Florida Panhandle there in 1933. And I believe I think there was one or two other instances as well that I'm forgetting as well, where there's at least two tropical storm force storms active in the Gulf of Mexico at the same time. But in terms of hurricane wise, if these forecasts hold, um, this will probably be the first time, at least in the modern settled era, that this has ever happened in the Gulf of Mexico. It's quite a remarkable thing to see here. And again, this is granted if the forecast holds. Like I said, the forecast is really uncertain, and the forecast track and then the forecast intensity is really uncertain for both of these systems at this point in time. Let's go ahead and look at 14L here, and you can see how it's been consolidating over time here. Um, the actual center of circulation is apparently a little bit farther south of where this rotation area is. See where the storm's at. Um, this is apparently a mid-level. To my understanding, it's a mid-level rotation here, and the actual low-level center is a little bit to the south of that, below that. Time remains to be seen if the low-level and the mid-level rotations align each other over time here, and they get to intensify more. If that happens, if they align each other, they'll get to intensify themselves more. Um, Tropical Depression 14L has about a day or two to intensify here before it makes landfall. We think the National Hurricane Center think on the Yucatan here as a Category 1 hurricane before going out into the Gulf of Mexico, and forecast to strengthen back up to a Category 1 hurricane at landfall around the Houston Galveston area of Texas, around that general region. Um, and like I said with the previous updates, these forecasts are pure on a change, so don't be surprised to see this forecast change more northerly, more southerly, more easterly, more westerly, etc. And then same goes for 14L. Expect the track to not stay constant like it is right now, so it may shift slightly to the east, slightly to the west, slightly more to the north, or slightly more to the south. So just be aware of that. And again, forecast accuracy and the intensity accuracy is really low with these two systems at this point in time due to the events that they're in right now. Um, and here's the model guidance for Tropical Depression 13L, and you can see the storm for the most part is remaining far enough away from the islands here to not really be impacted too much by them. Of course, looks like maybe the Turks and Caicos or parts of the southern Bahamas may get impacted by them before the Florida does there. And then the models are in fairly good agreement that it's going to impact either extreme southern Florida or the Florida Keys there in about 96 hours or less, give or take, and then eventually perhaps go and hit the Florida Panhandle not too long after, in about 120 hours out. And like I said, of course, same goes with the forecast track. Same goes with the models here. Don't just go off one model run and say that's actually going to happen. Like, say if you live in Miami or Fort Lauderdale and think, oh, you're safe from the actual storm. It's going to pass well to yourself. You're fine. Don't necessarily have a false sense of security here. Again, these storms can shift more north, more south, more east, more west, even in the forecast model track here guidance. Even though they may be in fairly good agreements now, I've seen it happen before where they go from really good agreement to one area of land, and then they switch over to in the next update to another area of land and better agreement. Um, Same goes with 14L here. This is the latest ensemble model track here, as you can see. For the most part, as of this latest update, the majority of the models make it having a landfall somewhere in the Texas coastline here, maybe in the Texas Louisiana border there, but it looks a bit at the extreme eastern part of it, looking off of these models solely. But like I said, of course, these models can change more east over time, so Louisiana could be more of a threat, more threatened by this, or it could shift more west here, and the coastal bend area of Texas could be more threatened by this. So definitely something to watch here with time here as the situation progresses here. And here's a radar off of Barbados, and you can see, well, not Barbados, but the Barbados compiles all the radar sites in the Caribbean here that are working and in operation here, and you can see where the area of rotation is around where that storm is. The invest 14L here, not invest tropical depression 14L. I mean, you can see it rotating there with time there. So again, something to watch here. And then reconnaissance plane went into both storms earlier today, and they found the center was a little bit farther south with Tropical Depression 14L, and then with Tropical Depression 13L, they just found it was generally a disorganized system at this point in time, thankfully. So yeah, and in terms of reaching official updates, getting official updates by your local officials and water governments, please go to the National Weather Service, just type up nws.noaa.gov, or just type NWS, and it'll probably be the first result on whatever search browser or search engine you're using. Same goes for the National Hurricane Center. Let me go ahead and look at that really quickly here. National Hurricane Center, right there, and you'll know you're on the correct page when you see all this information right in front of you. And just type up nhc.noaa.gov or just NHC, and it'll probably be the first result of whatever search engine or search browser you're using, respectively, there. So that's currently what's going on here. And the tropics, I believe that's about it for me. No, actually, I think I forgot to go over the key messages here. Here's the key messages for Tropical Depression 13. Stop the video right now and read that if you want to. And then here's the key messages in Spanish for Tropical Depression 13 as well, if you want to go ahead and read that as well, and stop the video right now and read that. So there's that. And then for Tropical Depression 14L, let's go ahead and look at the ones for 14L if they have them already. I believe they do. Yep, they do. Okay, so here's the key messages for 14L here in English. And again, you can stop the video right now and read this good information for you. It just gives you a basic summary of what's expected from this storm at this point in time, as with this latest forecast update. And then here's the Spanish version of that if you want to read that as well, to get better information on the current storm here. So I believe that's about it for me. Remember to always follow your local officials here, and National Hurricane Center and National Weather Service with time here. It's going to be a interesting few days ahead for us, especially in the Gulf of Mexico here. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with 14L and 13L as they start to enter, we think, the Gulf of Mexico here pretty soon in time here. So make sure you have your hurricane plan ready to go in case you need to evacuate and in case you get under a hurricane warning. Make sure you're prepared to leave. If worst comes to worst and you have to evacuate, make sure you're prepared to do that. Or if not, make sure you're prepared to hunker down for these storms. If you're not given a mandatory evacuation order for one of these storms, depending on how serious the situation gets. Again, it's really uncertain in terms of the forecast track and forecast intensity for both 13L and 14L. So please keep an eye on the National Hurricane Center and National Weather Service for the latest updates. And in terms of websites that I use for satellite imagery, I use Tropical Tidbits right here. And then on the left here, I use a site made by Alex Borham, called Cyclonic Wicks, and it has a good Go 16, Go 17, and Himawari 8 data that he provides on his website here, free of charge here, which is great to see. So hope everybody has a great day and night, guys. Stay safe, of course. Until then, see you guys in the next video. Peace.